Hello YouTube, I'm Andrew Does Hair. You can find my work on Instagram at Andrew Does Hair. In this video, I want to break down a great big benefit to blow drying your hair, just one of the many, and also give you a handful of tips as far as how to approach doing it for most types of hair. Now to start off here, I'm styling a head that is just damp. There's water in the hair, and all I'm using to style this is pomade and a comb. When you're styling your hair this way, we call this wet styling, and essentially what you're doing is you're relying on the strength of the product to overpower what the hair wants to do. Any way your hair wants to lay naturally, you're sort of fighting it with the pomade. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing this, but it's somewhat limited. And even this style here took me a good 4 minutes to do, 3.5 minutes. And even with my best efforts, there were still a lot of places where like the hair was splitting underneath the surface, or just I could not get it to lay right in certain areas because of the natural growth patterns and those sorts of things. So a hairstyle like this is actually great for, Wednesday morning getting out the door and just trying to get your hair done quickly. Now, alternatively, here's the same head shampooed and started from scratch with just water in it. What I'm going to do first is rough dry the hair. This is high heat and high power. You can see that I'm just using my hand and not a brush. And what I'm doing here is I'm just removing the moisture, but at the same time kind of pushing the hair roughly in the direction I want it to go. I want to do this until the hair is dry. Now, once the hair is dry, it's going to be kind of poofy and ugly. It's not going to be perfect right away. I'm going to go back after the hair is dry and use a brush with somewhat coarse, wide bristles to begin to smooth this out. Think of this like ironing your shirt. When you iron your shirt, the iron produces tension while it heats up the fabric, and this tension is what causes it to lay really smooth and flat. So the brush is also going to produce some tension, and that tension is going to take the hair and make it smoother and smoother. And note that this happens after the hair has already been dried. So once I've pulled the hair around with that brush for a while, it's a lot smoother, but it's still not perfect yet. Now this next part, kind of think of it like sanding. If you've ever done any woodworking or painting, you start with a coarse grade sandpaper and you go finer and finer until you have a smooth result. What I'm doing here is using a boar bristle brush. This is going to produce a lot more tension than the last brush that I was using, and so it's going to produce a much smoother finish. But you don't want to start with the boar bristle brush because it's just too fine to start yanking a whole bunch of hair around coarsely. Once I finish smoothing out the hair with the boar bristle brush, I'm going to go back with a 9-row brush to add a little bit of volume to the front here. All I'm doing as I do this is pulling the hair up, heating it, and cooling it as I bend it around the brush. So now that I've blow dried the hair, it's pretty much laying exactly where I want it to. So I barely need any product to finish the job here. The product's not fighting anything. So just a quick pass with the comb to kind of like make everything a little bit neater. And you've pretty much got a hairstyle that's going to last until your hair gets wet. Now this is going to be movable, it's going to be soft and pliable. And as you can see looking around it, it doesn't have those same splits and things around the cowlicks. I would say all in all, this blow dry took me probably 6 minutes, all things included. And so it was about twice as long as the wet style. But if you're suffering some of the problems that you're seeing on the left side with the wet style here, and you want to try to correct them, it might be worth spending a couple extra minutes with the hair dryer to see how it works for you. And as with any hair advice that I ever give you, I don't know your hair. I can't know your hair through a screen. Ask your barber or your hairstylist how this works for you.